At my 9th wedding ceremony with Marcus, his mentally ill childhood friend caused trouble again. She held a knife to father's throat, laughing manically. "Marcus, you are forbidden to marry her. And you'd better agree to let me have your wedding. I am the bride. If you don't, I'll kill him." Marcus looked at her with heartfelt concern, reaching out to tear off his groom's boutonniere ray and throw it to the ground, his eyes showing helplessness and pleading. "Grace, you see, it's not that I don't want to marry you, but I can't upset Chloe. I promised her mother I would never send her to a psychiatric hospital." The guests at the wedding were drinking and gossiping, discussing the drama between us, casting disdainful glances my way. I clenched my fists tightly, loosening them only to clench them again. Finally, I took off my wedding ring and threw it to Marcus. "I wish you both a happy life together." "Marcus, I truly let go and gave you what you wanted. What was supposed to be our wedding had me now as a guest attending the wedding reception, an object of ridicule." Marcus asked me to take off my wedding dress for Chloe to wear, an act that felt like utter humiliation. The moment I stripped, countless eyes would fall upon my body, scrutinizing me. But I had no choice but to agree, because father's life was still in Chloe's hands. So, enduring thousands of mocking stares, humiliation, and being mocked for being cuckolded, I slowly took off my wedding dress, my heart aching as if bleeding. Holy hell, she's really taking it off. She's practically naked, T-esque. She's so pathetic. Her body's been seen by everyone in our community. She'd be publicly shamed and ostracized, never able to marry again, worthless. Is she really going to die without a man? As these insults reached my ears, my heart felt both bitter and deeply ashamed. I reached up to cover my chest, tears falling like rain to the ground. Marcus once saved father. I had promised him I would marry no one but him in this life. It was for that past promise that I waited for him each time he ran from our wedding. But this time, I wouldn't wait for him anymore. Marcus walked over, picked up the wedding dress from the ground, his face etched with guilt. "Grace, don't worry, after I've appeased Chloe, and when her emotions are stable, we'll hold our wedding. Just bear with it this time. You know, when she has an episode, she's like a little child. Let's just consider our wedding a farce." Father looked at me, his face filled with heartfelt concern. The knife against his throat had broken the skin, and streaks of blood emerged. "Grace, don't take it off." I took off my high heels and threw them at Marcus. "Is that enough?" I directed this at Chloe, who was staring at me with a perfectly lucid glint in her eyes, a faint smile playing on her lips. "As long as I'm here, you can forget about marrying him. He's mine." Before I could speak, Marcus was already smiling, indulging her with soothing words. "Yes, I'm yours always. Come on, put on the wedding dress." Only then was Chloe satisfied. When she looked at me again, her eyes were full of provocation, my clenched fists audibly cracked. I had once advised Marcus, since she's ill, why not send her for psychiatric treatment? Marcus said he couldn't leave Chloe alone there, stating she had no family left and was pitiful enough. He even blamed me for my lack of compassion and for being petty and heartless. Every time we argued, Chloe was the topic. I was truly exhausted. I didn't want to be entangled with them anymore. If he loved taking care of her, then he could do it to his heart's content. The people present started laughing aloud, pointing at us, discussing us back and forth, drinking and gossiping. Father couldn't help but shed tears of guilt. But Chloe still hadn't let go of him. Just then, a group of doctors in white coats rushed in from outside the door. "We heard someone with a mental illness is causing a fatality here." Someone had called the police and notified the psychiatric hospital. Startled, Chloe tightened her grip on father, and the sharp tip of the knife pierced his skin. Father winced in pain. "Chloe, calm down. Don't hurt father." Smack. Marcus slapped me, his face full of rage. "Grace, why did you call the police and notify people to come? Didn't I tell you? Chloe can't be sent to a place like that." I explained to him that it wasn't my doing. But he wouldn't listen. Chloe, however, had lost control. The scissors wildly pierced father's throat, and a gush of blood spurted out. I froze, as if struck by lightning, then rushed forward at top speed, seizing the moment to punch Chloe down. She was knocked to the ground, falling against the nearby liquor cabinet, and alcohol splattered all over her. Marcus, who was usually very devoted to father, ignored the blood still flowing from father's neck, focusing instead with heartfelt concern on the unharmed Chloe. I helped father up, pressing my hand against his neck, screaming with a deathly pale face. A kind person draped a jacket over me, shielding my body from being exposed to other men. Help me, quickly say father. Chloe, enraged that I had knocked her down, stood up again, grabbed a piece of broken glass, and lunged at me, fiercely stabbing it into my flesh. I, however, couldn't free my hands to resist. The police reacted quickly, drawing their guns to restrain Chloe. The once beautiful wedding was now in chaos, a complete mess. Father clutched my hand, crying weakly. Grace, don't cry, don't worry about me anymore, just live the life you want to live. As soon as he finished speaking, he slowly closed his eyes, ignoring and the others. I helped lift father and followed the ambulance. But because an artery had been severed, he couldn't be saved and died on the operating table. I collapsed to the floor by the door, weeping with guilt and unease. Was this accursed connection? If not, how else could father's blood have been shed at a wedding? Marcus called me, but I didn't answer. Finally, he sent me a message. Grace, is father doing okay? I'm sorry, I'm apologizing for Chloe. I've already taken her out of the psychiatric hospital. The director tested her, and all her indicators are perfectly normal. As for why she stabbed father, it might have been normal human anger. I've also handled things with the police. This is a family matter, and we can settle it privately. It settled it out of court with a payout. I clenched my phone tightly, fuming to the point of explosion. Why, when she had reached the point of murder, was she still being released? Indicators normal? I'm sure Marcus's influence was behind it. In that instant, I woke up completely. I picked up my phone and called him. Why are you still letting her out? She's already killed someone. But she only killed those who provoked her. And you and father are exactly the kind of people who provoke her. A normal Chloe wouldn't just kill anyone. So, if you want things to be okay, just go along with her and don't provoke her, you know. People with a mental illness are not sentenced for murder. The conversation had come to this point. 9 out of 10 sentences were defending Chloe. There was no point in talking further. I hung up the phone and numbly dragged my heavy feet toward the operating table. Taking one last look at father's face, I couldn't help but burst into tears. If I had lived life on my own terms, cut ties with Marcus sooner, father wouldn't have died. Unfortunately, there's no rebirth in reality, only harsh truth, without notifying anyone. I silently took father back to her old town for burial. After taking care of the funeral arrangements, I called my boss. I agree to your suggestion from last time. I'll leave in 3 days. Right after I ended the call, Marcus called. Without thinking, I hung up on him and went alone to a bar to drink. I didn't return until very late. As soon as I walked in, I saw a man and woman on the couch, wrapped in a tight embrace, being intimate. Marcus, say you love me most. Say it now. Okay, hum. I only love you. I'll never marry Grace. You have to take me wherever you go. You're not allowed to despise me. If didn't agree, Chloe would cling to him relentlessly, refusing to let him get off, coaxing him until he agreed. They were utterly lost in the moment, completely oblivious to me standing there, watching. Did it hurt to personally see my fiancé bring a murder home to be intimate? No, I didn't feel heartbroken anymore, only revulsion and rage. Chloe seemed to notice me, turning her head to look at me provocatively, yet her actions didn't cease. Her eyes were full of insult. See, as long as I'm here, you'll never be together. I'll make you suffer and despair slowly. Marcus called her name for a long time without a response, so he couldn't help but follow her gaze. When he saw me, his eyes widened suddenly, and he quickly pushed Chloe away. His shocked face no longer held the flush of passion but was deathly pale. He hastily grabbed his clothes, his breathing uneven. He no longer cared about Chloe and rushed towards me. Grace, why are you suddenly back? Marcus's hand trembled. Before he could touch me, I violently shoved him away. I had been gone for 10 days without coming home, and he didn't even ask where I'd been, dedicating all his attention to Chloe alone. Don't touch me. You're filthy, covered in another woman's saliva. This left Marcus somewhat bewildered. He hadn't expected me to curse him so openly, and he became flustered. Grace, don't talk to me like that. You know, she has a mental illness. If we don't go along with her, it will trigger her brain to go crazy and harm people. I looked at his face, growing angrier with every word. Why do you have to humor her? Why are you so dead set against sending her to a psychiatric hospital? If she's truly ill, you're no better off. You're suffering from a despicable illness. Take her and get out of my house right now. I never want to see you again. When heard me tell him to get out, he quickly reached out to grab me. Grace, please don't be like this, okay? You can show compassion to a stray cat, so why are you so cold-blooded towards someone suffering from loneliness? I pushed him away, devoid of any emotion, because when I save a cat, it will at least show me some affection, but helping her only makes her more arrogant. You bring her on our dates, when we go to bed, she throws a tantrum, and you go over and coax her until she's in bed. Even our wedding has been disrupted time and again. Tell me, if dating you is this exhausting, why should I continue to stay with you? We're calling off the engagement immediately. I want nothing to do with you ever again. Take her and get out. Marcus turned deathly pale from my shouting, and coupled with me personally witnessing him and Chloe being intimate, he lost any ground to argue with me. Chloe, however, became anxious. She swung her fist and aimed a punch at me. Don't you dare bully Marcus. I'm a psychiatric patient. If you anger me, I can kill you and won't go to prison. That sentence again. I was so furious I lifted my leg and forcefully kicked her away. Marcus, who had initially remained unresponsive, knowing he was in the wrong, began to move after seeing me hit Chloe. Grace, stop it right now. Not only did I not stop, but I also stepped down on the back of her hand. You might be a psychiatric patient, but I'm acting in self-defense. After all, I've studied law. I know how to deal with you. As I increased the pressure, Chloe screamed in pain repeatedly. Marcus quickly shoved me away with force. That's enough. I know you're angry with me, and you're taking it out on her. Direct your grievances at me. Don't make things difficult for her. Seeing that I wouldn't release her foot, Marcus picked up the baseball bat and struck me on the head. The pain made me loosen my foot. When saw the blood on my forehead, he froze, realizing he had hit me too hard. As he was about to come over to examine my injury, Chloe started crying, clutching her hand. Is my hand broken? I knew it. Poor orphans are loved by no one, let alone lonely individuals with a mental illness. That single sentence successfully snatched all of Marcus's attention. His tension turned to furious exasperation as he pushed me away. Serves you right. Who told you to lay hands on her first? All right. It's just a little blood, isn't it? You won't die from it, but it's different. The doctor told me I need to watch her constantly and mustn't let her get agitated. Otherwise, what if she self-harms with a knife or kills someone? And tell father not to be angry. Once I've calmed Chloe down, I'll buy his favorite pastries and visit him. We are not breaking off the engagement. I don't want to repeat myself. After uttering these words, Marcus left with Chloe. As they passed me, Chloe spat at me, feeling faint. I was in no mood to acknowledge her. After they had both left, I began to clear out everything related to Marcus. After cleaning, I contacted the landlord to terminate my lease, but to my surprise, the next day, I was knocked unconscious and taken away. When I opened my eyes again, I saw Chloe, a cigarette in her mouth, with several people behind her staring fiercely at me. It seemed they had ill intentions. Dragging my injured body, I stood up and met Chloe's gaze. I stared at her for a long time until she let out a sneer. Looks like you've figured out I was faking mental illness. But what can you do about it? As long as Marcus is here, I'll never admit to faking it, and you'll never be able to fight me. She blew the cigarette smoke into my face, and I frowned, stepping back. What exactly do you want? I want you to disappear forever. Marcus is mine, but he loves you and refuses to let you go. You wretched pauper. You're blocking my path. I won't rest until I get rid of you. No sooner had she spoken than she ordered the people behind her to act. Throw her off the 6th floor and let her die from the fall. I clenched my fists and fought them. Chloe seized the opportunity, approached me with a knife, and plunged it into my chest. Just then, Marcus rushed over. Stop it. Chloe quickly pulled out the knife and stabbed herself, feigning that I was trying to kill her. Seeing this, the others immediately fled. Chloe suddenly clutched her injured spot, walked towards Marcus, blocking his path, and then collapsed onto him. Blood stained his clothes, startling Marcus into a panic. I knelt on the ground in pain, my vision growing increasingly blurry. All I could hear was Marcus roaring at me. Chloe cried, saying I had hired someone to kill her. Grace, you deserve to die. How could you kill Chloe? Chloe began to fake a faint, and before losing consciousness, she urged Marcus to rush her to the hospital for emergency treatment. Marcus glared at me fiercely, then quickly left with Chloe. Finally, I lost consciousness and fell to the ground. But Marcus never once looked back at me. At the hospital, Marcus sat anxiously on a stool, his mind restless. He didn't know what was wrong with him, but my weak, pale face kept appearing in his mind, had been injured too? A doctor came out and told Marcus that Chloe was fine, but his heart remained uneasy after a quick glance at Chloe. He wanted to go look for me, but always found ways to detain him, preventing him from leaving or answering his phone. It wasn't until the fourth day, when Marcus could no longer suppress his inner panic and was about to leave, that several police officers approached. Are you Chloe? You've committed 2 major crimes, deception and murder. You faked a mental illness and used a knife to kill 2 people, causing their deaths. There were 2 victims in total, a father and daughter, Mr. Zhang and his daughter, Grace. Impossible. Don't talk nonsense. Grace and father are alive and well. Nothing could have happened to them. The mention of my and father's deaths enraged Marcus, who glared at the police with wide, furious eyes. The police, provoked by his coldness, took out photos of my and father's deaths, along with surveillance footage showing the cause of death. Zhang, at his daughter's wedding, had his arteries severed by someone impersonating a person with a mental illness wielding a knife. He couldn't be saved at the hospital and died. His daughter, Grace, was knocked unconscious by Chloe and taken to a construction site. Chloe planned to kill her and then throw her off to stage a fake suicide, but she botched it and ended up stabbing her to death instead. Mr. Marcus arrived just in time, preventing her from being pushed off the building. Our people have arrested your accomplices, and we also have evidence that you bribed doctors to create fake certificates. Upon hearing this, Marcus froze, as if struck by lightning, unable to calm his uncontrollably agitated heart for a long time. No wonder he had been restless, uneasy, and constantly thinking of Grace's pale, bloodless face. Suddenly, he felt a weakness that left him unable to even stand. Fortunately, a police officer supported him, preventing him from collapsing to the ground. Marcus took deep, deliberate breaths. Trying to regain some strength, he looked at Chloe, but Chloe dared not meet his gaze, guiltily turning her face away. Marcus had grown up with her since childhood, so of course he understood what every one of her expressions implied. His heart clenched, and he quickly questioned her. Speak up. Tell me, did you pretend to have a mental illness, and then kill people recklessly? Why did you kill Grace and also try to stop me? Why did you disrupt my wedding repeatedly and cause my father-in-law's death? Chloe glanced at the police, not daring to turn around to face Marcus's roar. She was somewhat afraid and dared not admit it. No, I'm being framed. I didn't kill Grace, and my illness isn't. Then come back with us. We will confront you with irrefutable evidence. The police took out handcuffs and cuffed Chloe's hands, escorting her out without mercy. Marcus wanted to step forward and chase after them, but found his legs too weak to move. Tears streamed down uncontrollably. Even though he wasn't consciously crying, they just wouldn't stop. How much he wished all of this was false, not real. So, not giving up hope, he took out his phone and called me, but the call never went through. His heart completely sank to rock bottom. When arrived at the police station, he finally realized that all of it was true. He stood outside the door the whole time, personally hearing Chloe confess to her crimes. In that moment, his sense of conviction crumbled. What had he done for a person who was evil beneath a respectable facade? He had let her disrupt his wedding, kill Grace's father with a knife, and afterward, to appease her, even being intimate with her. And now, the person he loved had also been killed by her. He felt Grace was right. Knowing she had a mental illness, why hadn't he sent her for treatment, instead foolishly keeping her by his side? It could be said that he was half responsible for all the catastrophes that had unfolded today. Marcus stood outside the door, sobbing uncontrollably. An unprecedented rage surged within him. He stormed in and hit Chloe. Why did you do this? Why did you kill Grace? Tell me why. Chloe was stunned by Marcus's sudden roar. It was the first time he had been so furious with her. Because I love you. We grew up together as childhood sweethearts, but you just don't love me. You only fell for the newcomer. Grace, I can't accept that. Every day, watching you and her together as a couple, my heart aches so much. So I came up with this plan. Smack. You beastly dog. I should have sent you to a psychiatric hospital long ago. I regret it. I regret not listening to Grace and keeping a menace like you by my side. Finally, Arthur was detained, awaiting sentencing. Marcus then asked the police where my body was. He wanted to see it. The police told him the body was at the crematorium and to go there if he wanted to see it. Marcus rushed to the crematorium as quickly as possible. But the body had already been reduced to ashes and placed in an urn. He questioned the staff why they had cremated the body without waiting for family, but the staff replied, The deceased had no remaining family. They searched her phone for important contacts and only found Marcus. But he wouldn't answer his phone, so the staff had no choice but to proceed with their duties. Hearing this, Marcus suddenly collapsed backward onto the ground. He remembered, at that time, he had only been concerned with the unharmed Chloe, sleeping beside her, feeding her, coaxing her to get dressed. He did everything personally, even better than a husband would. Yet, ironically, his most important loved one had already died, and no one even came to claim her body. Marcus couldn't hold back anymore. He clutched the urn tightly, crying heartbrokenly. He truly hadn't known Chloe was such a beast. Clutching the urn, he walked out of the crematorium utterly distraught. As he crossed the street, he was like a walking corpse, almost hit by cars several times. He collapsed onto the ground, weeping loudly, letting out heartbroken wails, begging fate to bring Grace back. As for these events, I heard none of it. What he didn't know was that I was recuperating in a private hospital in Switzerland. I looked up at my elegant and handsome male boss, who was pouring oatmeal from a thermos. "What's up? Am I so handsome that I've completely captivated you?" He turned back, winked at me, and smiled captivatingly. I uncomfortably averted my gaze, simultaneously feeling resigned to his mischief. "Your injuries are almost healed. You can come back to work for me now, ha ha ha. You should thank me. I don't know who the boss is, but I'm always running errands for you, following your instructions to design a scheme to bait Chloe into revealing her true colors. So you have no choice but to work hard for me." Daniel brought the oatmeal to my lips, not allowing me to resist. I had to open my mouth and eat it obediently. "That's a good girl, isn't it?" That day, seeing you collapsed on the ground, covered in blood, almost scared the life out of me. I nearly thought I'd never see you alive again. I was heartbroken. My hand instinctively clenched. I had always known Daniel liked me. After all, we had known each other since high school, unexpectedly ended up in the same university class, and even after graduation, I still worked at his company. Sometimes, fate truly is amazing. Take and me, for instance, we clearly once loved each other, but it led nowhere. Weil and I seemed to have a connection but no destiny. Yet fate always arranged for us to meet again and again, with both connection and destiny. After Henry's death, I accidentally discovered that Chloe was faking it. To bait her into revealing her true colors, I played along in a scheme, but I couldn't do it alone, so I went to Daniel and asked for his help. The knife that day did pierce my body, but it wasn't fatal. But to break free from Marcus and avoid listening to his post-regret speeches, I chose to fake my death and leave. Chloe couldn't escape justice for the crime of killing father alone. To allow me to recover in peace, Daniel took me abroad. From then on, I completely severed ties with Marcus, never to see him again in this life. Seeing that I wasn't speaking and was lost in thought, Daniel raised his hand and tapped my forehead. "What's wrong? I really don't understand why you wouldn't leave him after he ran from our wedding so many times and hurt you so often. It always made me worry about you behind my back." I raised my hand and held his small hand, meeting his slightly reproachful eyes, and made him a promise. "I know you like me, but I've always used our difference in status as an excuse to avoid it. Will you wait for me? When I can stand at your level, I will certainly accept your proposal." Daniel's body stiffened abruptly, and he looked at me incredulously. He had waited many years for these words, sometimes even dreaming of them. Now, hearing them with his own ears, his heart instantly rippled, filling him with both surprise and joy. "I can wait for the proposal. But dating doesn't have to wait that long, does it? We can start now." As expected of a business genius, his mind worked faster than an ordinary person's. After that, I requested to be discharged and dedicated all my energy to work. Before, with father at home and Marcus in my life, I was always unable to step out and truly strive for my career. Every time Daniel saw me, he was disappointed that I wasn't reaching my full potential. He said he wouldn't be angry if I were mediocre, but I wasn't. I also had the mind of a business genius. Otherwise, I wouldn't always get along with him so well in conversation. Now he was happy, as if he had found a partner to weather the storms with. No longer a small boat sailing alone in the deep sea. When not busy, he would sometimes drive me to watch sunrises and sunsets. We would ride horses through vast grasslands at sunset, living a fulfilling life. 2 years later, I succeeded in my investments, multiplying my wealth countless times, and entered the global billionaires list. While giving interviews with major media outlets, Marcus stared fixedly at me on the screen, his mouth agape, wide enough to fit an egg. He recognized me and knew I was still alive that very day. He booked a flight to London. He was determined to find me. Ever since I had come into the public eye, I knew in my heart that Marcus would surely discover my whereabouts and realize I wasn't dead. But time had taken away the love he had etched into my heart. When's name was mentioned again, my heart felt strangely detached. All these years, Daniel had been by my side. He filled my sorrows and soothed my pain with his love. Now, I was not only grateful to him but also deeply in love with him. Yes, I had slowly fallen in love with this handsome man who appeared indifferent but was actually very kind. He secretly and anonymously donated his personal wealth to doing charity work in underprivileged areas in the country and established a charity organization, ensuring many children from poor families could attend school, have a home, no longer suffer from hunger, and no longer fear their houses being blown down by the wind. Those who didn't know this side of him secretly mocked him as a cold-blooded, heartless, devilish tycoon. Only after discovering Daniel's secret did I realize, when someone does good deeds, truly from the heart, there's no need to deliberately show it off. Those who flaunt it are merely doing it for others to see. After the interview, Daniel walked over, smiling, and took my hand. You seem to have forgotten one thing you haven't done yet. His eyes watched me expectantly, waiting for me to give him a satisfying answer. But I didn't know what important thing I had forgotten, so I just smiled and shook my head. We had agreed that if I succeeded, I would put on the ring he gave me and tell him he could start his proposal. To my surprise, Daniel became displeased. His face flushed with resentful anger. He rarely showed such a charmingly sullen side. It was only with me. I smiled and took him out to eat. But he was still unhappy and ignored me. It wasn't until I brought him to the outdoor garden venue that his eyes widened. After seeing the decorations, his shock turned to joy. I had never forgotten what I promised him. I didn't know what was wrong with me. Perhaps after being with him for so long, I had picked up his playful and mischievous habits. I personally directed the engagement proposal setup, designing it according to his preferred style. As colorful fireworks lit up the sky, I took out the engagement ring and handed it to him. Daniel, you can propose to me now. Daniel nodded, both delighted and joyful. Yes. No. Marcus rushed over, breathing heavily and looking exhausted. That face was the one I detested most, the one I never wanted to see again in this life. He had once pushed me into an abyss and also stabbed me in the heart, but when he saw me alive and well, his tears suddenly burst forth and streamed down. He slowly lifted his foot, walking towards me with disbelief. Grace, is that you? Is it really you? As he was about to approach me, I took a few steps back with Daniel. Don't get close to him. Who knows if Chloe's mental illness might infect him and harm us. I looked at the overjoyed Marcus with utter coldness. When he saw the indifference in my eyes, his smile faltered with a hint of disappointment. But his tears wouldn't stop, falling one after another. He wanted to come over and lift his hand to caress my face, to feel my warmth. Do you know? I thought you were really gone. Every day was worse than death. I lived each day in torment. He probably wasn't lying. It was evident from his gaunt body and lusterless eyes. But what did that have to do with me? Our accounts had been settled 2 years ago. Don't touch me. I find you disgusting. Do you know why I left? Because I hated seeing you. Hated that you would only express regret afterward. It was meaningless and only made me feel more disgusted by you. His tears fell onto the back of my hand, his face etched with agonizing torment. I'm sorry. I didn't know Chloe was faking it. Nor did I know she killed father and tried to harm you. I know I trusted the wrong person and made mistakes. Can you please forgive me? After all, we once loved each other and have so many beautiful memories. As soon as he finished speaking, he still tried to reach out and touch me. I couldn't help but roar. Marcus, even if she wasn't faking it, you two are utterly disgusting. If she has a mental illness, why didn't you lock her up? Why did you let her out to harm people? Don't give me any pity stories about her. That's irrelevant. To put it simply, you were an accomplice. Get out. I never want to see you again. Before I could shake off his hand, Daniel moved faster than me, knocking down Marcus, who was restraining me, with a single punch. Hey don't you dare touch my woman. I finally managed to win her over. How could I bear to let some other scoundrel steal her away? Hearing's words, Marcus finally noticed the man standing beside me. He knew who Daniel was. A powerful figure who has influence in both legitimate and less conventional circles. A formidable person who acted decisively. But facing the prospect of his beloved woman being taken by Daniel, Marcus wasn't afraid of him. His sorrow turned to rage, and he glared at Daniel with eyes full of fury. Grace is mine. Please watch your words when you speak. There were just some misunderstandings between us. Our engagement hasn't been called off. So don't even think about being a third party. Hearing this, I almost laughed in exasperation. Marcus, you can't possibly still think that after you ruined us so terribly, we could ever go back to how things were. Even if I were forced to agree, Father, who is now deceased, wouldn't approve. Before he died, Father held onto his last breath to tell me to break off our engagement, leave you, and live the life I wanted. Marcus's face slowly turned pale, knowing that once Father was brought into it, there was truly no turning back for us. Daniel took my hand and, in front of Marcus, slipped the wedding ring onto my ring finger. Marcus cried, begging me not to leave him. But before he could continue to pester me, his assistant called him. He accidentally put it on speakerphone again, and we all heard what the assistant was saying. Mr. Marcus, the little boy has been crying non-stop. He's looking for his mother. Marcus had a child. I instantly guessed it the next second. This child is Chloe's, isn't it? Marcus remained silent, just shaking his head while crying. Listen to me. Our family owed the Yangs a great debt from a long time ago, and Chloe's mother always asked me to look after Chloe, but was already in prison when she discovered she was pregnant with my child. She gave birth in prison and asked me to take the baby. She begged me not to abandon the child, so that the Yang family would have an heir. I didn't want this. That's utterly disgusting. He had a child with another woman and still had the nerve to come explain himself to me. Then why are you here, Marcus? Don't you know you're truly sickening? It wasn't just me who was enraged. Even Daniel, as a man, found Marcus's actions despicable and utterly shameless. Marcus, leave. As a man, I don't want to compromise my integrity by unleashing a barrage of insults at you. Marcus just kept crying, unwilling to let go. In his mind, he genuinely believed he had repaid the Yang family's kindness, thinking it was perfectly acceptable to have given them a child. But seriously, what woman could ever accept that? I took Daniel's hand and walked out. This was truly an ill omen. A perfectly wonderful proposal ruined by Marcus. Marcus chased after us, but Daniel's men intercepted him. I paused, telling him without turning my head, I no longer love you. If you have any decency, any conscience left, then stop bothering me. My future husband is Daniel, and he's the only one for me, in this life. Unless I'm dead, I will never let go of his hand. Daniel looked at me with immense gratitude. For the first time, he was grateful to Marcus. If hadn't come to bother us, I would never have voiced my love. He squeezed my hand, and we exchanged a knowing smile, a silent understanding passing between us. Before leaving the place together, Marcus finally understood that my heart now belonged to someone else and could never return. He left, utterly distraught. Not long after, we heard the news that Chloe had died in prison. Marcus, too, distracted while driving, was hit by an oncoming vehicle, thrown from his car, and died instantly. When I received this news, Daniel and I were doing charity work in underprivileged areas, telling stories to innocent children and distributing food. Let the people and events of the past simply fade away. Thank you for watching this video. If you have any thoughts about this story, feel free to share them in the comment section.